being a lot more common now that they've been made more accurate, and of course a lot more lethal because of that. And it can be rather troublesome to facing an American who gets them really early on and then keeps on throwing them, because they can really end up almost taking out entire teams with a single grenade. And it's the only 25 munitions, but there we go. Grenadiers joining in, and some fresh Grenadiers, keeping the pressure up on these chaps, not letting them move about. And we see another assault going off, I believe. There we go. Once more dropping grenades through the windows, really damaging, stunning them, and forcing these American fellows to get out of there before they are bombed. Certainly living up to the Grenadier part of the Volksgrenadier name. And we see the half-track moving in once more, ready to provide some heavy fire support. And we also see Rangers. Perhaps some howitzer artillery would have been nice, but of course if he does get those Rangers, it would certainly not be out of place. And there we go. And of course with fire up, grenades, and perhaps some Thompson submachine guns, they can be lethal. And of course these riflemen can as well. But he really needs to start attacking from perhaps a larger avenue, instead of just, well, basically allowing me to focus all of my defenses in one spot. Of course, having numerous defenses prepared, of course it does give me some space to maneuver in, and of course be prepared for attacks from any sort of side. Storm Armory is up. What shall come out of it, we cannot say. Oh, well, I can say, but that would rather be spoiling the surprise, wouldn't it? And Volksgrenadiers and Grenadiers holding here, setting up some mines there. Perhaps I made a bit of a misjudgment there, but who knows. But certainly at the same time, if I'm forced to abandon it, cause them to hit some mines. Mortar rounds flying in, as I have gotten the Granatenwerfer there. And the half-track leads the charge, crashing through the barbed wire, opening fire on the mortar. The mortar will need to retreat. Am I aware of this, or is it just the sort of delay there sometimes when you're trying to retreat units? Can't say. There we go, retreating. The quad half-track, they're opening fire. Oh dear, and the mortar team is lost. But what is this? Stug 4 to the rescue, and going to crash through the wall as these engineers hit a mine. And there we go, the quad is in a bit of trouble, not able to deal with the might of the Sturmgeschützsphere in a rather nice green camouflage pattern. And Volksgrenadiers are quick to join in, and of course a full rout, not entirely sure, but probably because he does not have sticky grenades. And at the same time I am finally initiating some small maneuvers here in the west, moving in my Volksgrenadiers to do a bit of harassment, since suspecting he's probably going to try and mobilize most of his forces for assault here. And a grenade going in here. Of course I only have a Grenadier team, and oh dear, a mine goes off and I am forced to retreat. But these Rangers are quick to suffer some heavy losses due to the mines, so of course not all bad. And we do see some further attempts at fortification, in this case wiring off this old wooden cart so I can use it for cover, and only mine. And the Stug ruining this piece of cover a bit, sadly. Small engagement here as a Volksgrenadier squad is taking on a single rifleman team, which is a bit down, but of course with the BRs they can get a bit away. Veterancy 2 up for my infantry. Not entirely sure why he's standing out there instead of behind the pickup truck though, but apparently he's hoping for something, and instead we're seeing, now he's marching forwards. At the same time we are seeing a large assault going in towards the north. Numerous rifleman teams and an anti-tank gun ready to provide some covering fire. MG42 engine forward, Stug as well, hoping to open a bit of fire, knocking out a rifleman. And we do see some Volksgrenadiers standing guard here, retaking this point. MG42 blazing away. And the fight here was won. The Volksgrenadiers will have free reign. And let us return to Mr. Me, Hauptmann Dane of the 326th versus the Captain Flint of Flintandsteel, the Indian head 2nd Infantry Division. Volksgrenadiers coming under a bit of fire, but once more assaulting. And what will they be assaulting? Perhaps this anti-tank gun, perhaps the rifleman there. No, the anti-tank gun in fact. Dropping numerous grenades, stunning and damaging, although these crewmen are a bit sturdier than that. Certainly was worth a try again, sometimes the best way to experiment. And oh dear, the loo has gone kaboom. Always a fun detail. And Grenadiers pulling back. quick to lay down some sandbags now that the cart has been blown apart. They're not going to give up this. They are too stubborn. They are true soldiers of the Reich. And won't be stopped by those silly Yankees. But of course a bit more barbed wire would perhaps been a bit helpful, as there's not much for them to hide behind. But Pioneers moving ahead, and we have a Nebelwerfer. The Nebelwerfer being existent in rather different variations. I do believe there was about 3. One of them being the sort of type that was also strapped to the sides of trucks and was also named the Sturmgeschütz. This one I do believe is the smaller variant. There was also some larger ones capable of firing even larger rockets in this sort of design, that is. And numerous forces moving in. Again we see assault grenades being used here. I'm not entirely sure why he's not so good at retreating, but of course I'm not complaining, as it does mean I'm not wasting 50 munitions. Of course, if you're seeing this sort of opponent, use it to the full extent. Rangers taking a bit of damage, but of course his riflemen will be able to chew up my riflemen. My Volksgrenadiers, I mean. And we are seeing a full retreat here. Further fighting right here. Volksgrenadier team, I think, is lost. Or was it perhaps some Pioneers? Pioneers, I do believe, right there. Tragic. But such is the service of the fatherland at times. MG42 pulling back. Assault from American riflemen right through here. Rather interesting and certainly not a bad maneuver. Really sneaking through here where perhaps not were expecting it, but running straight into the MG42, and the Grenadiers are quick to react as well. Grenade going off, killing one MG42 gunner, but the riflemen are torn apart before they can finish the job or even get out of there. Nebelwerfer still continuing to inch forwards, while we see the rest of the German forces are reinforcing here, and we see some veterancy for the support units, which in case of the Nebelwerfer means it reloads faster, I do believe. And there we go, the first barrage, the howling of the Nebelwerfer as it sends its incendiary payload towards the Americans, rather nicely hitting this structure, blowing away parts of the roof, even scorching them a bit. And we see some stormtroopers moving in here. Veterancy 2 stormtroopers being even tougher than Grenadiers, and of course having assault rifles, which are, unlike the LMG-42, are actually effective. And we do look like this rifleman team is destroyed by the heroic stormtroopers. Although I'm not entirely sure what division they would have been from, as I'm not entirely sure there would have been any SS units near Brest. Perhaps some remains of the 1st or 2nd SS. I cannot say. Of course, one could imagine they are perhaps paratroopers, as those did fight near Brest. And Sturmhaubitze being prepared, but not entirely sure that will be used. Riflemen continue through here with numerous Rangers now being used. No artillery though still, I think. Nope. But plenty of submachine guns though leading the charge. And of course I don't have so much sandbags here, I've been a bit forgetful, but still plenty of barbed wire to really mess up them. Maneuvering this Nebelwerfer still on spot. A bit of hiccup. Grenadiers holding the line, and I suspect my stormtroopers will be dashing into aid here in the east. And we do see an armored car all of a sudden. A bit curious though. Rangers continuing their push with the lead armor. Grenade going off, killing quite a few Volksgrenadiers. Nebelwerfer rockets raining in. Not hitting much though. Mostly just leaving an incendiary wasteland in their wake. And here we have the stormtroopers engaging these Rangers. Who shall win? The elite stormtroopers or the well-trained Rangers? I cannot say. Certainly looks a bit equal, but those Rangers are certainly getting beaten up. And there we go. Stormtroopers of the Reich once more winning the day. Pioneer team though forced to retreat. And a medic station is up. Medic bunker that is, so that's certainly going to help, but still a bit surprised he hasn't gone for it. And a bundle grenade absolutely blowing apart the occupants of this building. Very nice job. Rangers continuing their assault, getting suppressed and hit from all sides. Not going too well. Assault going off. And we do see a howitzer strike going in. Not entirely sure if this is the best spot to do it though. But there you go. And Volksgrenadiers continuing to do their work right here in the west. And looks like this armored car is sneaking about. Not entirely sure of what to do while these Rangers are reinforcing, having been brutally wounded and depleted of precious manpower. There we go. M8 moving in, opening fire. Let us return to me for a brief while. And there we go. Foes Grenadiers trying their best to hold the line against the M8, which has not been upgraded. Apparently, of course, he used all of his munitions on that artillery strike, which didn't do much. So his M8 is a bit under armored. And now we have a Stuke 4 with Veterancy 2, meaning, of course, a machine gun on top to really help against infantry. And now it will probably set in after this M8 armored car and blow it apart, if it can, of course, get it in range and in sight. And never mind, Panzerfaust number 2 knocks it out, rendering this part of the map in control of the 326th as well. But looks like the Americans are preparing with a lot of Rangers to perhaps push through once more, one final time. And of course quick to lay down some sandbags in case he does come from here. But of course if he does come from here, they won't do so much, unfortunately. But there you go. But this eastern half is mostly secure, and storms are quick to move up here. Probably going to see some points, and we see a bazooka left behind. There we go. Large American assault force moving past the wreck of that M8. What shall happen? Cannot say. There we go. The assault force is moving in. Foes Grenadiers, though, caught on the wrong side of the cover, retreating back towards the Stuke for support. And we see assault going off. Plenty of grenades, grenade madness really landing among the Americans. The Stuke just nailing away targets, and the Rangers are getting absolutely massacred out there in the open, even with elite armor, due to all of those grenades. And of course the Stuke 4, which is of course just helping with its light machine gun and main gun, and those Rangers are getting murdered. Of course the question is, where did those false Grenadiers get all of those grenades? Well, it fell off a truck, Herr Hauptmann. Yeah, sure it did, Heinz. Sure it did. Anyhows, I hope you enjoyed this. And of course, if you did, why not subscribe or tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? I'm of course always welcome. And of course, I'd like some replays on, for example, some of those new maps that were added with the latest update. For example, Eggleston or something like that. Anyhow, what can we learn from this? Well, sandbags, if used properly, can make quite a difference, alongside some barbed wire and some mines. Again, fortifications can really help you out, as we saw here and here. So try to use those, of course. Other parts are, of course, when you're again heavy infantry, get a medic station or a medic bunker. It can really help you out. And of course, for example, if the American player perhaps placed it here, it could have collected wounded over here and got them back safely. And sometimes you want to attack from all angles, but he just kept attacking from one, which didn't quite work out so well for him. And of course he did use grenades, but perhaps it was a bit too late. And of course, if you're seeing your opponent flash bright red above his troops and you're suddenly seeing grenades being thrown at you, hit the retreat button. For goodness sake, hit the retreat button, and you will suddenly see 50 munitions wasted faster than you can imagine. Otherwise, of course, hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want. If not, fair enough, but I would like a subscription, in particular since I'm very close to the 400 subscribers, and that means I'll be doing a second cast that day. Anyhow, cheers.